Hey, I'm back here again. Today is Friday. Thank you so much for watching. But before I continue, kindly subscribe to my channel. A lot of you are watching my videos and you're not subscribing. Why is that? What's happening? Kindly subscribe to my channel and stay tuned because I'm gonna be dropping videos twice a week and also some shorts in between. So I got a comment from my last video. Someone said I should talk about employer and employee relationship. So that's actually what I'm going to talk about today. How do you keep a good relationship between you and your employer, and what are the things you should not talk about or you should avoid? Remember, in one of my videos I talked about 5 mistakes you should avoid, that or something that you shouldn't do so you won't ruin your career. So I'm going to link that video somewhere around this video. So after this video, you go back and watch it so that you are going to be fine in your workplace or with who you are working for. Having a good relationship with your boss or with your client or with your employer or whoever that you're working with is actually very important. But then there's some things that you need to stay away from. Some things like not keeping boundaries. That's number one. You need to keep a certain boundary. For example, if you are working, your work hour stops at 5 and then your boss starts to call you 3 or 4 hours later, maybe just to tell you an information. If that agreement you had with that person is for 5 hours a day, I mean, you have to keep boundary. If actually you need time for yourself, if you need time for yourself, you need to keep a certain boundary by not taking calls after work, because the moment you start taking work calls after work, it's going to be a continuous process, because that's actually how it works. But if you don't take work calls after work, there are a lot of people that take their job so dear to them and it's pretty cool. But when it comes to your personal life and your work, is actually there needs to be a boundary. And also there are some things that you might not need to tell your boss, probably your family deep secret or your work style or something else. You need to keep a certain boundary. Keep your boundaries. So coming to work every day, if you are in the office or working remotely, if you work from home or anywhere else, it's very important to keep some things to yourself. It's not everything you tell, because the moment you start telling your boss or who you're working for some sensitive information about you, there will be a day when they will take that information against you or use that information to maybe say something that is going to spike you or make you start to feel bad about whatever you're doing, or even start to regret why you disclose that kind of information. So that's why you need to keep boundary. You need to keep some information to yourself. It's not everything you discuss. Yeah, you need to be you need to have those good relationships, but keep some things to yourself. And number 3 is your attitude to work is actually very important. I mean, for me, there were times that I was working with a client, and there was a time I was working with a client and something happened. They were kind of like, there weren't really an exchange of words, but then the attitude of communication actually made me to get furious and angry. But then I tried to suppress that and try to calm down in that situation. But that attitude of communication, the way my boss communicated to me and shouted at me for something that wasn't even my fault, made me to start losing it. I lost it at that point. And at some point, that work relationship between I and my boss wasn't really a good one, because at every little thing, something goes wrong. And the blame is on me for trying to do it better. So at some point, apologies were rendered and all that. And I got to understand the reason. Sometimes maybe your boss shouted at you. It could be because of some kind of pressure from somewhere, from family, from friends, from wherever. And so, as an employee in that company, or if you're working for a single person, a solopreneur, you need to understand that reacting to that particular situation immediately is not the right thing to do, because once you react to that situation, it's going to spike up some unnecessary discussions or some emotions and some things that actually would make you to lose that opportunity or that job, or just anything can happen. And that's why in one of my videos I said, do not leave a job on bad terms, because you never can tell when you are going to need that person, or when you're going to need a recommendation from that boss or from that client. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you are on good terms. I mean, there are some things that are just going to make us go nuts, just, oh my god, that kind of situation. At that point, you need to calm down. It's not easy, but have a friend or have someone who understands you better, and someone who can calm you down at any point in time, because you are going to need it. Even if the person is not a therapist, at least if the person is accommodating enough to calm you down, it's okay. So I've already mentioned having a relationship with your boss. Having a good boss employee relationship isn't about exposing every detail of your life, because it's not supposed to be. The person do not have, there is no written agreement that you need to expose every detail of your life, except you choose to. But it's not always advised, because anything can happen and you never can tell where that information is going to go to. Well, I don't know, but it's not that important. You can discuss work, you can discuss some other minor things, but some deep stuff about your life, you need to keep some things to yourself. It's very important. Well, your ability to stay in a particular company for a very long time determine on your work ethic, how do you deliver your work, and your attitude. Your attitude is very important. If you are very good, you're hardworking, you are amazing, without the right attitude, it's actually going to take away a lot of things from you. So you need to have that right attitude to work, and also be hardworking. Let your work speak for itself and whatever you're doing. So it's something that you need to take into consideration. If you are that person that always flame up at every little opportunity, you need to calm down about it and always understand that there are some things that must have caused this person to talk to me this way. But even at that, you can always write an email. I know some people are going to be scared. Oh my god, why would I write an email to my boss? I'm scared she's going to fire me, he's going to fire me. You can always write an email to your boss, or just book a call one-on-one and talk about it and understand why he or she is reacting that way towards you. Probably it's because of a mistake you've done before, and it's not becoming a reoccurring incident of always shouting at you at every given point. So you need to understand the reason why it's happening and try to see if it can be solved, because when you are working in an uncomfortable environment, trust me, you are not going to be happy, you're not going to be productive, and everything is just going to go sideways because you're not happy, and you could be scared, you are frustrated, you are just thinking of the next thing that could happen if you do a little mistake that will make him or her to shout at you. So, and when you are being too careful, sometimes you make mistakes. It happens. So you need to really be careful, and you need to find out the reasons why things are happening, so that it doesn't escalate to something else that is not going to be solved. So it could be a call, it could be an email, writing to your boss. You can start with a good greeting. Hi, so-and-so person, I appreciate you working. I appreciate the time I've worked with you, and blah 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 blah. There is an issue. There is this. There is. I mean, you need to start at least appreciate them. Just start with something very amazing, very good. You don't just have to go straight to the point. Because you don't want to get fired. You don't want to, put more fire to the already made fire. So communication is very important. Don't keep quiet and don't reply to such situations with anger or with the same mood. For example, your boss is always shouting at you every single time, and you decided to, do things in a very angry manner and all that. It's going to add more fire to that. So you need to be careful of how you react, how you respond to things. And if the fault is actually from you, you need to check within yourself. Okay, how am I doing this? Why is my boss always shouting at me? Why is he always doing this? I need to find out exactly. Communication is key in any workplace or in any relationship, your boss, between you and your boss, and in any other place. So you need to communicate that issue before it escalates to a more bad one. When I say bad one, I mean something that could even make you to resign, or for them to say, okay, I don't want you to work here anymore. I'm firing you. Don't work here anymore. That kind of thing is not what you want, right? So communicate such issues. Either you book a call or you send an email and see how you can resolve things. But if it's getting out of hand, then probably that job is not for you. If it's too much to handle and you've tried everything possible to stop the whole thing or to reduce the whole thing and it's not working, maybe you should think about it. Think about your mental health. Is this something that I want to continue with? Is this something that I can manage? If you cannot manage the situation and it's really draining, well, I feel like it's not the right job for you, or is not the kind of environment you need to find yourself in. And then maybe God is trying to speak to you. My daughter, my son, it's time to quit. I have another big thing for you. So when one door closes, another door will open. That's how it works. And so you need to be positive at all times. Now, to recap, I talked about boundaries, I talked about keeping things for yourself, and I talked about communication. Also, timing is very important. When do you resume work? I mean, there are some certain attitudes you do or you've done in the past that must have made your boss to start to react in a certain way. So you need to find out and communicate issues. It's very important to keep you happy in wherever you're working, and also to maintain that good relationship between you and your boss, because you need it. When the relationship is not good or there is a comma, you are not going to be happy in that working relationship. You won't be happy, and your productivity is going to be affected, and your work ethic is going to be affected. So these are just my little cents. And let me know in the comments, or have you experienced this kind of thing, and how did you solve this issue? And also, what do you want me to talk about next? If you have any topic or subject you want me to handle or you want me to discuss, kindly drop them in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next week. Bye.